Hello, students. Welcome back to Introduction to Linguistics. This time I'm going to talk to you about the phonological rules. As I told you the last week, I hope you understand this topic and put into practice this in your daily life because phonetics and phonology is a very or are very interesting branches of linguistics. Phonology is a branch of linguistics that focuses on the ideal sounds that all the speakers of a particular language have in their minds and that are used to create or perceive the messages with which we, the human beings, communicate. These, however, vary from one language to another. In English, for example, the sound er may have sound different pronunciations, and it can be flapped or unflapped. In Spanish, the sound also has two pronunciations. It can be trill or flapped, thus varying from those of English. As you will see in this lesson, phonology has to do with these phonemic variations. So this is precisely the difference that exists between phonetics, which studies the characteristics of the sounds, while phonology has to do with the attempts to account for how these sounds are combined and organized in order to convey meaning, as you saw in the last week in the video that I told you to watch. So, phonology deals with how the words, phrases, and sentences are transmitted from the speaker to the hearer through speech. Languages differ greatly in the way the sounds are combined to form patterns. The phonological system of a given language is the part of its grammar that allows a speaker to know which sounds belong to the language he speaks and how they are put together to create intelligible and natural utterances. So, students, in English, we have two types of transcriptions. In phonetics, in the first course that you took in the first year of this bachelor, you saw the broad transcription. This time we are going to see narrow transcription, okay? So, as I told you, we have two types of transcriptions, narrow and broad transcription. The first one, narrow transcription, known also as phonetic transcription, represents the actual realizations of particular sounds. That is, it includes the specific details of the sounds. This kind of transcription is enclosed in square brackets. Okay, these are square brackets. But people, before continuing, I want to clarify, I want to tell you that this information is taken from the book by Rubén Villarreal and Ramfi Sandoval. Okay, so if you want to read this, I'm going to provide you the material for you to read. The second transcription, the second type of transcription, is the phonemic transcription, known also as broad transcription. And this does not include the details of the sounds, and it is known, as I told you, as a phonemic transcription. This kind of transcription is enclosed in slashes. Okay, we have two types: phonetic transcription in square brackets and phonemic transcription in slashes. Okay, so let us illustrate this with the following example. We have the words pie and spy. Okay, both words both words contain the stop sound p. Okay, however, this sound is pronounced differently in the two words. It is not pronounced the same here and here. In English, when a voiceless stop, remember the voiceless stop, p, t, k, occurs word or syllable initially before a stressed vowel, it becomes aspirated. aspirated, okay? Pronounced with a release of breath at the beginning of the word. P, p. You need to feel the puff of air at the beginning of the word. Thus, pie is realized with the aspiration at the beginning, okay? Pie, pie. In a narrow transcription, that is with the aspirated p, p. Instead, in the word spy, spy, p is unaspirated. You say spy, 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 since it does not occur word initially. Notice that this symbol and p are two variations of the same sound that occur in different environments. So, as you could notice, this p is not the same as in here. In here is pie with a puff of air at the beginning of the word, and in this case we don't have any release of breath, spy, okay? So they are transcribed in this way: pie with the aspiration symbol and spy with no aspiration symbol, because here we don't have the aspiration, okay? The aspiration phenomenon. But don't worry if you didn't understand this. I'm going to expand that uh, when I have to talk about this rule, the aspiration rule. But what I have said can also be illustrated with this analogy, okay? The element water, we have the element water, has three states, okay? Liquids, solid, liquid, and steam or gas, okay? It becomes steam or gas or solid, ice, when it is submitted to certain conditions, fire and freezing. If we have fire, we get steam or gas. If we have freezing, then water becomes solid. And yet they are all the same element. This is water, this is water, this is water. But it depends on the environment, okay? It depends under the conditions we have the element, okay? So it is clear, it's the same water, but if we have it in a different condition, then it becomes a different in different states, solid, liquid, or gas. It depends on the environments in which we have water. So it's the same case here. We have the p sound, but in here we have it at the beginning, and here we have it in the middle of the word, you see? Pie and spy. The same letter, but in a different environment. So let's talk now about the rule number one. The rule number one is aspiration. Aspiration is then a phonological rule in English that can be stated in the following way. Don't worry, because I'm going to provide you the information, the written information for you to read at home. But now I want you to pay attention to this. A voiceless stop becomes aspirated when it occurs word or syllable initially before a stressed vowel. Okay? I'm going to repeat the rule. A voiceless stop becomes aspirated when it occurs word or syllable initially before stressed vowel. There are many other instances that illustrate the difference between a narrow and a broad transcription, all of them determined by a phonological rule. Okay? So the next rule we're going to see is the vowel nasalization, but in this case we're studying the aspiration rule. So if we have the sounds, the voiceless stop, t, k, in a word initially, before a stressed vowel, then we have to aspirate that sound. The symbol for this rule is this, the H, okay, over the letter P, T, or K, okay? So in this case, we have the word pie, as I explained earlier. Pie, we have to put the H over the P, okay? Because in that case, we're indicating that in this case, we are applying the aspiration rule. But what about spy? We don't have the aspiration rule here because the P is not in the initial, in the at the beginning, it's in the middle. But what about kill? Kill, kill, pronounce it, kill, kill. We have a proof of air at the beginning of the word, you know? You can pronounce it there and practice, kill. So in this case, we have to apply the aspiration rule. What about skill? Skill. In skill, we don't have that rule, okay? Because the k is not at the beginning, the k is in the middle, people. So it is not too complicated. You only have to practice and practice and see different words so that you can practice. Let's see an exercise applying this rule. What about panic? Panic. Do you think we have aspiration in that word? Panic? Panic? Is there a proof of air at the beginning? Yes or no? Let's see. Yes, we have aspiration there. Panic, panic. So we have to put the symbol DH over the sound P. Next word. What about soap? Soap, soap. Do we have aspiration there? Remember the rule? What does the rule say? Soap. We don't have the aspiration rule there because the P is not at the beginning, it's in the end of the word. What about back? Back. Do we have the aspiration rule there? No, we don't have it, okay? We don't have the aspiration rule there. What about top? Top, top. Yes, we have the aspiration rule there in the sound t, okay? So let's continue. What about capital? Capital, capital. Yes, we have aspiration at the beginning of the word, capital. Now let's continue with the second rule, nasalization. Nasalization, vowel nasalization. Dice, a vowel becomes nasalized. You know what are the nasal sounds? Do you remember the nasal sounds? If you don't remember those sounds, you have to practice them, okay? You have to look for the phonetics book and practice the nasal sounds, okay? So a vowel becomes nasalized when it occurs before a nasal sound. When a vowel occurs before a nasal segment, that is a nasal sound, it is produced with certain degree of nasalization. Nasalization. It has to do with the nose. That is by lowering the velum, permitting the air to go out through the nasal cavity. In the word tone, or came, the vowel sound a, remember this, the vowel sound a becomes nasalized because it occurs before the nasal sound okay? Nasalization is then a predictable feature for vowels because it depends on the environment in which the vowel occurs before a nasal sound. Nasalization is not predictable for consonant sounds since it does not depend on the environment in which the consonant sounds occurs. In a narrow transcription, a nasalized vowel is symbolized by placing the diacritic mark over vowel the vowel, as in these examples. Came, came. The A is nasalized, so you have to put the diacritic mark over the vowel A because it is before the nasal sound. In the same case here, pen, pen, a. you have to put the diacritic mark over this vowel because it is in front or before the nasal sound. Let's see these examples. Bin, bin. Do you think we have to apply the nasalization rule there? Bin? Yes, we have to apply the rule because we have a vowel sound here and a nasal sound here, so we have to put the diacritic mark over the vowel E. Next example, okay? Not, okay? Not, not. We don't have to apply the rule here because in this case the vowel sound is not before the n but after, okay? So we don't have to apply the rule, the nasalization vowel rule here. Next example, sin, sin. Do we have to apply it? Yes, because we have the n sound here after the vowel sound e. Well, I'm going to explain the next rule, the homorganic nasal rule. The homorganic nasal rule. People, if you need to watch the video several times, you can watch it, okay? There's no problem for that. You can watch it as many times you want, okay? The homorganic nasal rule says that a nasal sound assumes the same place of articulation as that of a following oral stop sound, okay? Two consonant sounds are said to be homorganic when they have the same place of articulation. We should notice that an n, which is usually an alveolar, that is pronounced n, becomes a bilabial that is pronounced when it occurs before the oral stops sounds and b. Okay, um, when it occurs before the oral stop sounds p and b. For example, input. Okay, input. You see, the n becomes when you have it in front of a p sound. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. We should notice that an n, which is usually an alveolar because it's touching the alveolar ridge, that is pronounced n, becomes a bilabial. Bilabial. Remember the bilabial sounds. P and b. Okay? That is pronounced when it occurs before the oral stop sounds p and b. This is because the sounds and b are bilabials. In the same way, n becomes velar, that is pronounced when it occurs before the oral stop sounds k and g. This is because the sounds k and g are velar. Notice that when n comes before t and d, it does not change. This is because the t and d are alveolar sounds. The words input and incoherent are then pronounced input and incoherent respectively. For example, in the word think, it becomes think. We have to apply the rule here with the sound the same here, wing, song, sung. Okay, let's practice. Bring, bring. There's the sound. What about sun? Sun. Do we have to apply that rule here? Yes or no? No, we don't have that sound here. What about English? English. Yes or no? Do we have to apply the rule here, the homorganic rule? Yes. English. English. We have the sound here, okay? So the next rule is vowel length. Vowel length. Vowel length says that a vowel is lengthened when it occurs before a voiced sound or word finally. Okay? Okay, so the symbol we are going to use is the colon. Okay? Examples, we have mad, you see? You have to put the symbol after the vowel that is lengthened. Okay? Free. Free. In this case, the vowel is at the end of the word finally. So the symbol is at the end. Free. In this case, is after the vowel a. Mad. Free. Okay? Remember the symbol. So let's see these exercises. What do you think about this word? Go. Do we have to apply the vowel length here? Go. What do we have at the end of the word? A vowel, right? So the transcription is this. Go. Okay, you have to apply the rule here. Next, what about boat? Boat. What does the rule says? The rule says a vowel is lengthed when it occurs before a voiced sound. Before a voiced sound or word finally. We don't have any vowel word finally here. But what about this sound? This sound is voiced or voiceless? Is voiced or voiceless? It's voiceless, so we don't have to apply any rule here, okay? No vowel length here because this sound is voiceless and the rule says that it has to be a voiced sound. For example, in this case, main, main, the n is voiced. Remember, all the nasal sounds are voiced. So if the n is voiced and here we have a vowel, then we have to apply the rule. Main. What other rule do we have to apply here? What about this? What about this symbol? Do you remember? Do you remember what symbol is that? It's the vowel nasalization. Remember the diacritic mark. Please, people, remember all the rules. Now we have the velarization rule. The velarization. The rule says the l becomes. This is the liquid, remember, that is the name. The liquid L becomes velarized when it occurs before a back vowel. Remember the chart? The chart of the vowels? The back vowel, low vowel, a word or word finally. I'm going to repeat it. L becomes velarized when it occurs before a back vowel, low vowel, or word finally. The symbol is this, okay? Remember this symbol. Examples. Look, look. Okay, we have it here. What aspect of this? Okay, last, last. And what about feel? Word finally. Okay, look, last, feel. Okay, in the first example, we have a back vowel. Okay, back vowel. But in this case, we have the low front vowel. Remember the charts, okay? So let's see the exercises we have here. Exercises. What about lake? Lake. So what about lake? We don't have to apply the rule here because A is not a low vowel nor a back vowel. Remember, this is a mid vowel, okay? A. And what about this example? Steel. Steel. Do we have to apply the rule here? Yes. Why? Because we have the L sound at the end of the word, which is word finally. And the next example is lock. Lock. Is a back vowel? Yes. So we have to apply the rule there. Lock. Okay. Is it clear? If you have any question, please let me know in the WhatsApp group, people. Don't be afraid of asking anything, okay? People, I'm here to help you. The next rule we're going to study is the schwa rule. Schwa, schwa, okay? You have to pay attention to this rule because it can be confusing for you, okay? Uh is pronounced when it occurs in stress, pay attention to this, uh, is pronounced in this way with this symbol when it's the same sound, okay? The schwa is the same sound, but it will vary depending on the environment in which we have it. So is pronounced in this way or is transcribed in this way when it occurs in stressed position, not followed by okay? When it occurs in stress position followed by and when it occurs in unstressed position followed by okay? In this case, love, love. It is in stressed or unstressed position. It is in stress position because we only have one syllable here, love. And it is not followed by It is not followed by So we have to transcribe it in this way as here, love. It in this case, okay? But what about bird? Bird. What about in this case? It's the same schwa here. Schwa, we have a schwa here. But it is followed by an So it needs to be transcribed in this way. Bird, okay? The rule is here. When it occurs in stressed position, followed by it is in stressed position because it is the only syllable we have here. So it must be transcribed in this way, bird. The next example, better, better, better. What happens? We have the schwa here, but it is followed by an So we have to transcribe it in this way. Better. Okay? Better. So people, in this case, we have the schwa followed by an but it is in unstressed position. So we have to pronounce it. We have to transcribe it like like here. Okay? Better. Better. Okay. But what about if the schwa is in unstressed position, not followed by we have to transcribe it in this way, data, data, okay? Data. There is no here. So we have to transcribe it simply like this, okay? Let's continue with these exercises. What about lover? Lover. What is the schwa? We have schwa here and we have schwa here. But what about this syllable? It is on stressed position or stressed position? Lover, lover. It is unstressed position, so we have to transcribe it in this way. But what about the first schwa? It is stressed position and it is not followed by so the symbol is this, okay? The next example, third. Okay, you saw it already. It is stress position and it is followed by so we have to transcribe it with this symbol. So there are four symbols, okay? If you need to see them again, you can go back and watch them. The next example, ago, ago. What is that schwa? At the beginning or at the end? Is at the beginning. Ago, ago, ago. And it is not followed by so we have to transcribe it in what way? What symbol? Ago, ago, okay? The normal schwa, okay? The next example, done, 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 okay? It is not followed by so we have to transcribe it this way, done, using the same symbol here. It's the same case, but in this case we were seeing the last syllable. Now the rule number seven, fricative, the fricative rule. Okay, students, if you need to read the paper that I provided you, you can read it while I'm explaining to you. So becomes fricative when it occurs after d, or f. Remember this sound, the interdental. T, d. These are alveolars. Becomes fricative when it occurs after d, or f. The symbol is this, okay? Look at it. Examples: through, through, drew, drew, tree, tree. Got it? Let's repeat it again. Becomes fricative when it occurs after d, or f. The symbol for this rule is this one. Examples: through, the occurs before this interdental sound, so we have to apply the rule here. Through, the, drew, drew, tree, tree. Okay? Exercises. What about proud? Do we have to apply the rule here? Yes or no? Yes or no? Proud. No, we don't have to apply it, people. Why? Because this is not the sound that we saw, okay? This is not a, this is not, this is not d. So we don't have to apply the rule here. Next exercise. What about dramatic? Dramatic. Do we have to apply it? Yes, dramatic, after the sound d. Another example, thread, thread, thread. What sound do we have at the beginning? Yes, we have to apply the rule here. What about this example? Trap, trap. Do we have to apply it? Yes. Why? Because of that sound at the beginning of the word. Next rule, the devoicing rule. Devoicing rule. What does the devoicing rule says, people? It says that the liquid l, and become devoiced when they occur after a voiceless stop. Okay? What are the voiceless stop? T, k. Remember the voiceless stop. So remember the voiceless stop sound. So we have some examples here. Sorry, the symbol. The symbol is the little circle under the letters L and R. Okay. Examples. Try. This little symbol must be here under the letter R. Okay, under the sound R. Try. Place, place. Price, price. Okay, under the sound R. Creed, creed. Claim, claim. Okay, this is the devoicing rule. So I have some exercises here for you to practice. Remember the rule. You have to memorize the rules. L and become devoiced when they occur after a voiceless stop. Exercises. Pride. Pride. Do we have to apply the rule here? Yes. Why? Because this is a voiceless stop. Okay? Pride. Remember, this little circle must be exactly under the sound Next example, plumber, plumber. Okay, remember in this case the letter B is silent. Why? Because we have two bilabials together, plumber. Do we have to apply that rule here, plumber? Yes, because we have the L after the sound P. Okay, so is it clear, people? Now we are going to study the last rule, which is the flap rule. Flap rule. What does the flap rule says? It says t and d become flapped when they occur between a stressed and an unstressed vowel. Okay, remember that t and d become flapped when they occur between a stressed and an unstressed vowel. So, is realized in Spanish in two ways, trilled and flapped. That is, it can be produced by trilling or vibrating the tongue against the hard palate, as in perro, okay? Or by making the tongue flap against the alveolar ridge, as in pero. In English, is never trilled, but some speakers of English produce a flap This is the sound that most Americans produce instead of t and d in words like rider, okay, rider, and rider, rider and rider, okay? And the sound that British speakers make when occurs between vowel as in very, okay? Very, they say very. The symbol to represent a flap in a narrow, remember in a narrow transcription, will be this one, okay? A capital D among or between square brackets, okay? Thus, rider and rider will both be transcribed as in rider in a narrow transcription, okay? So I have some exercises here. In this case, do we have to apply the flap rule? Yes or no? Think. No, because it is not in the right environment to apply that rule. We need to have a t or a d sound there, and we don't have it, so we don't have to apply the flap rule there. But what about this one? Better, better. Do we have to apply it? Do we have to apply it? Yes or no? Yes, we have to apply it. Why? Because that sound is between two vowels, okay? Better or better, okay? Now it's time to practice, people. You have to go to the section on Schoology, on not Schoology, sorry, on Google Classroom. Then you are going to find a paper there that with some practices and that you have to apply, in which you are going to apply the rules. So people, this is the file or document that you will find on Google Classroom. Here you have a summary of the rules, of phonological rules, and also some exercises that you have to do, okay? First, you are going to transcribe the different sentences in phonemically, okay? In broad transcription, then you have to transcribe them in narrow transcription, applying the different rules. Try to do it and let me know if you have any problem or any question, okay? So I hope you get a you get good knowledge on this topic because it is very interesting, okay? So see you next class. See you in the next class and have a nice time.